Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. John's going to make a brief statement, and then we will take questions, okay?
Good morning, everybody. Oh, man. I don't know what to say. I want to first start by apologizing to all the fans who came out to support me for UFC 200. Obviously, the UFC for Titos, for not being able to perform, and I know there's been a lot to go into this event. All the staff of the UFC, and Daniel Cormier. I want to apologize to Daniel Cormier. I know that this fight means a lot to him. The fight meant a lot to me, and the fight's not happening. So, just really wanted to apologize to everybody sincerely. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. I'm really sorry about this happening. Yeah, I guess you guys can start with your questions.
John, right here. As much as you can tell us, can you give us any details about the test, what it was for? I mean, obviously, I know this is all private information, but what can you tell us about the test?
Sure.
Well, what I can tell you guys is that this last 24 hours was a whirlwind. We got the notice last night from Jeff Nowitzki of the UFC that there was a possible flag for some sort of PED violation. We're here this morning to basically deny that, apologize that this has happened, and go from there. But at this point, we're not going to get into the details of the notice that we got, simply because that obviously we're going to do what we have to do to fight this.
So, I mean, it's just to confirm, like, I assume you'll file an appeal, have the B sample tested, things like that?
Yeah, the B sample is being tested today.
Obviously, we know how these situations play out. You're guilty before you're innocent, of course, when something like this comes out. I mean, how are you feeling about this, just because immediately afterwards the reactionary of everybody is you're guilty, and obviously I assume you probably had a lot of people piling on you in this last 24 hours.
Right. The whole situation, it really sucks. It really sucks. Really hurts a lot. Supposedly they found something in one of my samples that I have no clue what it is. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I've been taking the same supplements the majority of my career, and I've been so outspoken about being against, any type of performance enhancers. I'm still to this day extremely against performance enhancers, and so the whole thing sucks because being labeled as someone who would ever cheat is it just hurts me more than anything else I've ever been through in my career. It just sucks. Right now I'm kind of like, I don't really know how I feel about it. So
I know it's hard to answer this question in the moment because it's so fresh, but I mean, where is your head at for the future? I mean, is it just about proving your innocence in this? Are you thinking about, what's next in terms of your fight career? Like, what is next for you?
I mean, obviously, it just happened. So, he's a little emotional about it. He's a little distraught with it. It's not an easy thing for him to swallow right now. So, obviously, we're just going to go step by step through the process and take it day by day.
Question from Malki over here. With your other client, Yoel Romero, when he had this potential anti-doping violation, you guys would have had an inkling about what it could be, and of course, there was a measure of exoneration to it. Do you feel like this is a similar situation where you can sort of piece back together the timeline of events to maybe pinpoint what it could or couldn't have been?
From my preliminary understanding of what they're talking about, absolutely 100%. So without saying too much more, I feel like by the time this is all said and done, it'll be all right.
So maybe you won't answer this, but I'm just going to ask. Is this a supplement issue?
It could be. It could be. I don't want to say much more than that just because I got to go through all the reasonable steps, but it could be.
Over here, Martin Rogers, USA Today, to your right. Just for the record, categorically, I went to see Jon in Albuquerque earlier in the year. He was very adamant that he completely cleaned his life up and was clean in all matters. Is that what your message is today? Are you
100%.
categorically denying that he's taken anything?
1,000%. 1,000%. You can, say whatever you guys want about Jon over the years. The last year, he's done nothing but try his best to live life right, to eat right, do the right things, and, obviously not, be in this type of predicament. He's been very outspoken about this stuff, and, one of the main reasons why he came here today is he wanted to look the media and the fans in the face and just say that, like, look, I apologize that this happened, but, he didn't cheat at all. He didn't do anything wrong, or he didn't at least, try to do anything wrong. So that's where we're at with it.
We can see he's obviously very emotional. Is it possible for you to say what part of it is the most difficult for him? Is it sort of the embarrassment of it? Is it just the disappointment of it? Like, what part of it?
I think it's a combination of all of that. You work so hard over the course of a year to try to get back to this point, right? Everybody's labeled you so much different things. And I think, I can speak on that because I was right there with them. And then you get to here and you're the headliner of UFC 200, the biggest show at the event, and you're happy and you're proud. And, no matter what would have happened Saturday, you're just, it's finally, bringing that chapter to a close. And then here's, what happens. So.
Just finally for me, so how did the process go in terms of the B sample? Were you given the option of having the B sample tested and you decided to go ahead and do that? Like what happened with that, and do you know when that will be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's getting tested today.
Okay. And when did they give you the option as to whether that was tested or not?
Last night.
Last night. Okay. Thank you.
Folks, Jon will be right back out. As you can see, he was visibly upset. So this is a lot for him to take in, and it's all coming to, fruition right now as far as he's feeling some emotions. So he will be right back out. But if you want to direct any questions to Malki at the moment, please feel free to do so, and we'll get Jon back out here in a moment.
Malki, it's our understanding that this was an out-of-competition test on June the 16th. Can you tell us when the last test prior to that, the last clean test that Jon had would have been?
From what I understand, from looking at everything and speaking to Jeff, he's had 8 tests under this program since December, and every one of them has come back clean except for this last one.
Okay, and he has not been tested since June 16th?
No.
This would have been the last one?
From what I'm aware of, yes. Yeah.
And also, can you speak to the level of the banned substance? Was this a metabolite, like a trace element?
Again, I don't want to get into too many details, but it is a metabolite, and there's certain things that we're looking into now at this moment to try to clear up and.
The B sample you said was being tested today, and
Yeah.
is this at the Tokyo lab? Is this overseas?
Salt Lake City lab.
Oh, Salt Lake City. Do you have will there be a representative from your team or Jon's team there?
There was no way for us to get there in time. So there's absolutely, none of us are going to be there. We're here. We're hoping it comes back negative, because if it comes back negative, then, that changes everything.
Okay. And is there a process? We're hearing that there's a process to sort of expedite. Obviously, it can't be done in time for Saturday. But what is the best case scenario for timetable that you're being told as far as when you might hear the results of the B sample?
No, I'm going to get the results of the B sample, I'm thinking, tonight.
Oh.
That's what I was under the impression of. That might be incorrect, but that's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm hoping we'll get the results tonight of the B sample.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, like we see his head's a mess right now, but are you saying he's still effectively preparing to fight? Like, is that still some kind of option? Because last night what we heard from UFC was that was completely off the table.
Well, we heard about this really late last night,
Sure.
and we're here really early this morning, so we're not preparing for anything other than to come see you guys at this moment. So, we're here. We're gonna wait to hear what happens from the B sample, and then we'll go from there. You guys kind of know how the B sample stuff works, though. So, I mean, the chances of that coming back negative are very slim, but you know, we're holding out that that might happen.
Malki, John said he couldn't identify the substance or he couldn't pronounce it. Did they tell you what the substance was, and can you say what it was?
Yep, absolutely. But we're not going to discuss what it is at this moment right now.
John, where were you when you were told about this, and what was your immediate response?
I was in my room getting ready to cut some weight, getting ready to go work out. And my immediate response, I don't know. I don't know, it was obviously pretty devastating thing to find out.
Which was your attitude? Like, you know, I can't catch a break?
My attitude, you know, my attitude was to just continue to fight. That's my attitude. Just, you know, this is, you know, just try to be optimistic and positive about the whole situation and try to find the good in the situation. So that's my attitude. It's just to figure out, you know, figure out what good can come from this in my personal life. So that's my attitude.
What good do you think can come from it, given the gravity of the situation? I mean, they're talking about 2 years, right?
Right. You know, I try to believe that everything happens for a reason, and that, you know, at the end of the day, God has a plan for me. He has a plan for us all, and so I just, you know, I'm just trying to stay optimistic. I feel like I've put in a lot of work to get back to this point, and I feel like I have to reclimb a ladder.
John, I'm just wondering, have you had a chance to communicate with DC at all? And if you haven't, what's your message to him? What would you say to him?
I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him, and you know, I just wanted to tell him that I'm sorry. That's really it. I know this fight meant a lot to him.
John, obviously, you know, you've been through so much, and to be this close to getting back, you know, the chance to win back your full title and everything, obviously you're very emotional, but can you just explain, you know, how you're feeling right now and how much this hurts to have this setback?
It you know, I believe that something good will come from this. But right now, it's hard to see it. I'm sorry that I'm crying. I believe that something good will come from this, but right now it's hard to see it. And I just got to keep going.
And as of last night, Dana White said he hadn't had the chance to speak with you yet. Has that changed at this point? Have you communicated with him at all? And if so, what was that conversation like?
No, I haven't communicated with Dana White, but I'm interested to talk to him. I talked to Lorenzo Fertitta. I told him that I would never cheat. I pride myself in my work ethic, and just apologize to him for the whole thing happening.
Jon, I know it's tough for you right now, but just to be clear, I think you said earlier the supplements that you've taken, nothing new. Are you saying that through this training camp there was no new products, no anything of any kind that you brought in?
Well, there's a few things that have nothing to do with performance that I've tried. And like I said, whatever it is, I can't even pronounce it. I've never even heard of it. So I'm just now learning about it myself. And so right now I'm just going through and thinking about every single thing that I've taken leading up to the fight. And we're going through a process of getting everything figured out and seeing exactly where this came from.
Jon, can I ask you what that process is like? I mean, a professional athlete like yourself at the highest level, when a supplement is brought to them, a new substance, a new whatever, then somebody says, hey, this is good for you, you should take this. What do you do to vet that? Who recommends, yes, Jon, this is okay? What guards are in place to make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation like this, whether
Right.
willingly or unknowingly?
Right. On my management team, I was very aware that everything needs to be documented and leading up to the fight, and I didn't really stress that whole thing, and I think I just know in my heart that I would never take anything that enhanced me in any way, so I didn't feel the need to even jot down anything. I guess I didn't really think this could ever happen, and so I knew that you had to write things down, and I never thought I was not even in a gray area to have to worry about jotting down the type of things that I take.
And lastly, I know that you're focused on the positive and hoping this turns out in a good way, but let's say worst case scenario, 2 years away from the sport, how would that impact you? I mean, you've made money for yourself, you maybe have other opportunities. Do you see yourself, if you do have to sit out 2 years, making a return to the sport, or could this potentially be the last time we see Jon Jones?
Yeah, no. If I do have to sit out for 2 years, I'll definitely be back. My plan is I'm already thinking about just the good that could happen, and I'm just optimistic, man. At the end of the day, I'm a fighter. And even though I may seem broken up here, I'm not broken. I'm just really upset. And I've been through a lot to get to this point, so I'm not gonna let this slow me down. Obviously, 2 years out of the game does slow me down, but I'll find the good in this, and I think God has a way of talking to us, And
Jon, you are the greatest talent in the history of the sport, and I speak for everybody here when I say we respect your courage for showing up today. No other athlete would have faced the media. My question is, are you denying taking the substance you're accused of, or are you denying knowing it was on the ban list?
both. I would never take anything that I wouldn't take anything that would enhance my game. I wouldn't cheat. That's just not who I am. So both.
Jon, I know that right now we're talking about looking at supplements, possibly looking at any new supplements you might have taken, but we've also seen in other sports recently, the NFL, for example, expressing concern about their players traveling to Mexico, eating meat in foreign countries, things like that. Has there been any exotic travel, international travel on your part during this testing period?
No.
Jon, you spoke about being clean and sober and how much your life has changed. You know, so many people were putting forward goodwill toward you and really wanting to wish you the best in a redemption story. Obviously, we know that we don't know what this is, and it's a different storyline now with the USADA test. But is there something that you want to say to the people who have been supporting you and really trying to give you, the best as you move forward?
Yeah. At the end of the day, this too shall pass, and for all the people who really believe in me, continue to believe in me, because the story isn't over, and the best is yet to come, and I want to let them know to just like this changes nothing when it comes to my journey, when it comes to a fight with sobriety and things like that. I will continue on that path. Let's figure out what this is before passing judgment, and figure out, what's going on. And I think people who are fans of mine know that I'm a fighter, and that adversity is not something that defeats me, and I'm hard to be broken. And so, just to know that, I'm upset today, but I'll be okay, and eventually they will be really proud.
Well, there's also a concern, people who know, people who have struggled with addictions, that something bad in their life happening can relapse, cause them to relapse. So there's
Right.
also a great concern now that what you've overcome in your sobriety issues now may become an issue because you're upset, because you're going through hard times. Is there anything you can say to that?
No, that definitely won't happen. I have a lot of pride in sobriety, and we all get tested in life, and I'm at a point in my life where, really shitty situations, I deal with them fairly well. I hadn't really cried about the situation, so I guess I needed to get that out a second ago, huh? It's kind of therapeutic being up here. But this is no, this won't break me. This won't break me. Like I said, I believe that something really good is going to happen, and maybe if I'm out for 2 years, maybe this is something that God felt that I needed for my development as a person. So I don't quite see why right now, but ultimately, His plans that will shine through, and and I'll start to see why as the growth happens. So I'm upset, but at the same time, I'm just saying, I'm thanking God in advance because, something's gonna come out of this, and I know it. So.
Thank you.
Jon, just in the short term, what are your plans? Will you be going home right away, staying in Vegas for the weekend?
I'm gonna go home. Yeah, probably talk to my probation officer, get on the same page with him, and then I'm just gonna start this process. This is all very new for me, so I'm going to come up with a list of things that I've taken, and we're gonna try to figure out where this supplement or what, could have came from. I'm definitely really interested myself.
And Jon, maybe not the most important thing to you at this moment, but do you have any idea what happens to your interim title? Is it
Interim title? No, I would imagine it's vacated or whatnot.
Jon, just that you brought it up, I'm just curious because I think we're wearing probation officer. You said talking to him. Have you spoken? Do you know if there's any potential impact here? I mean, is there any connection between the two?
There isn't. I highly doubt that there would be any impact on probation.
There is no impact. Jon has been tested the past year while being on probation for street drugs. So this has no impact on his probation.
Thanks, Jon. We appreciate the time. I know you want to get home and see your family. Have you had a chance to speak to your family yet? Have you gotten any messages from them? And what have you heard so far?
I've talked to my fiance, and she's such a strong girl. I feel so sorry for her. She's been through a lot. And she was so proud to see me get back to this point. She's been there throughout the whole thing, the whole climb, and she was so proud and ready to witness me get back everything that I've lost. And so. All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
I'd like to say a couple words before you guys leave. They can leave, but let me say something. I'm sure all of you know who I am, and I've worked with Jon very closely for the past year. And what I would like to express to you, because I rarely speak to the media, is that Jon has been an exemplary client. He has done everything he's needed to do to get through this process of his probation. He has followed the rules. He's gone to schools. He's done everything that the courts have asked him to do, and he's worked extremely, extremely hard. He has been tested for alcohol and for drugs the past year, and he has gone through those tests with flying colors. This is obviously a shock to him, as you've seen throughout this press conference, but I would like to tell you from someone who has worked with him closely for the very past year that he has been an amazing client, and I couldn't have asked for a better one. So, of course, we are all upset with this setback, but one thing I do know by working with Jon the past year is that he will come back from this. He is a fighter. He is a hard worker, one of the hardest I've ever worked with. And when you go to print, I'd like you guys to remember that he has worked really hard to get to this point, and this is definitely a huge blow to everyone involved. We thank you guys for coming out, and I just wanted to make that quick note before we left. Thank you.